Hey everybody, it's Keith Saarloos, and it's Saturday morning at 10 a.m., and that means it's Chopping It Up with Keith Saarloos on Crazy Country 105.9.
The horse.
And that person on the other side of it, this is a special episode. This episode is for me, in all honesty. This episode is I am having my friend, Robert Boyd. Robert Boyd. Did I blow it? I kind of blew it a little bit.
You said you never do any editing, but I feel like that
I'm
might
not
need
going to
a bit
edit
of an
it.
edit.
It's going to be in.
That's cool.
This is live, baby. My buddy Robbie Boyd, who lives on the East Coast. Everybody needs a friend like Robbie, and Robbie is mine. Robbie's the person you can call at any time. He is right now. He's covering his face because he does not accept this kind of compliment very well. Lives on the East Coast. We talk once a week, twice a week, sometimes every day. When a topic comes up, we talk about it. And the fun part about having this in today is Robbie and I are very good friends, but we also have very, very different views on pretty much everything in the world. And in today's day and age, one of the things that hopefully that this little show is going to help out with is you can be friends with someone and not agree with them. And I think that would be a great place to start with this world coming back together and meeting in the middle and being able like, oh, you believe this? I believe that. We don't need to yell at each other. We can totally have conversations about what I believe, what you believe, and kind of meet in the middle and go, okay, we would go about this a little bit of a different way, but we kind of have a similar outcome. Would you agree?
Well, I think, to set the tone for the conversation, no, I wouldn't agree. I fundamentally disagree with everything you've said. Because I think we don't disagree on as much. And I think that's probably not to be too kumbaya about it, but I think that's kind of part of the problem that you're describing, right? Is that you could look at the two of us and our, I think, pretty wildly different political opinions, maybe.
Agreed.
But then when we come and actually talk about things, we find each other going, well, yeah, okay, I agree about that, but, I would do something different about it. Or I agree about this, and I agree that something should be done, but who should be the one doing it? And so there's actually a lot more that unites us than divides us. But if we simply looked at each other's sort of manifesto on paper, and of course you and I both have a manifesto that we share regularly. If we just compared manifestos on paper, you go, oh, this person's terrible. I want nothing to do with that. He has, completely, alien views to my own. Whereas in fact, we share a lot of very strongly held beliefs, both, outside of politics and actually inside politics, which is, I think, one of the things that we've talked about is sort of the unhelpful idea that politics is a spectrum when it really isn't. And I think someone much smarter than me could have some sort of model of politics as being like a sphere where when you go,
that's the one.
When you go around far enough, you kind of come back to yourself. And there's all kinds of different places to be on the sphere, and just modeling it as a two-dimensional thing when politics is all of human life. Gosh, I mean, that feels like way too reductive and way too simplistic.
Well, let's start somewhere. What do you think? I mean, just sharing this with the people who are kind of listening, is you had a very different.
I'm aware of what this is going to be.
Thank you. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Belfast in Northern Ireland.
Right. And during what era?
So I was born in 83, which means that the Troubles, as they were known, were dying down, but still very much an active thing. So there was still a sort of militarized police force. There were still bombings, still shootings, things
IRA,
like that.
right?
Yeah, both
sides.
There were two sides. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And so you grew up, and I think that's one of those things just to think about and to pause for, right? Is about 40 years ago in Ireland, there was fighting in the streets. I mean, there was bombings, there were weapons. I mean, it was Protestant versus Catholic. I think that's reductive. I know.
Okay,
but I'm just saying for an American audience,
sure.
Like what was happening in Ireland in the 1980s, right?
Yeah.
It was a war-torn country. Yeah. I mean, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've told you the example of I was walking to school one day and I saw a device that looked like it was a glass milk bottle. So the other fun thing about growing up in Ireland in the 80s was that in many ways, my wife likes to say that I grew up in Dickensian London because, we weren't allowed to write with a biro, like a ballpoint pen.
Really?
Oh, no, we were pencil only until the age of 10, and then you were allowed the privilege of writing with a fountain pen, like with nib and ink.
Yes.
And so if you were left-handed, you were really in a very difficult position because you would smear your
Everything.
writing as you wrote. And so you saw people write, and of course this works really well because radio, as I understand, is a visual medium.
Yes.
With your arm at a 45-degree angle up in the air to keep your hand
clean.
off the page.
That's
So
amazing.
so there's a lot of stuff like that where it's
And
just
people would yell down, "Go buy the biggest goose."
Right,
Yeah,
right. You
of
saw.
course.
I actually the first Thanksgiving after we were married, so we were having Thanksgiving in Belfast. It was very important to my American wife.
Okay,
we're going to do Thanksgiving. So first of all, finding a turkey at the end of November, when turkey is traditionally in the UK and Ireland sort of raised for Christmas, was kind of tricky. But I got a turkey, and we had my parents over. We had a very awkward, very lovely Thanksgiving
Your
dinner.
parents have no idea what
no
this
clue
is.
what's going on.
Zero
My
clue.
wife insisted that we go around the table and say what we were thankful for, which is pretty much just kryptonite to a British person.
Yes.
Just the idea
Bare
of
your soul
not
in a
only
group setting.
group public positivity is just really
Perfect.
So anyway, so we did all that. Anyway, we said goodbye. It was lovely.
Yeah.
And as we stood at the doorstep and sort of waved them off, there were a couple of little flakes of snow, which is rare.
Right.
Like it doesn't snow very much there.
Right.
And across the street, someone opened an upstairs window and shouted down at his friend, "You boy, what day is this?" And without missing a beat, the guy turned and whipped his head around and went, "Why, sir, it's Christmas Day." And I'm always in awe of people who are that quick-witted.
That's amazing.
Like-
But you are.
Sometimes I can have a turn, but like the number of times, like as I think
Like
with
someone
most people,
had that in the chamber.
oh, right in the chamber, ready to go.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was so good. But anyway, yeah, it's well, I will say this.
Yeah.
I think many of the most interesting people I know are certainly ADHD and somewhere on the autism spectrum.
Sure.
I certainly claim that.
Yes.
Not to say that I'm interesting, but I certainly claim that role for myself. And so the idea of any kind of a linear conversation is incredibly
We've had
difficult.
Chris Parker on as a guest.
Oh,
before.
fine. Okay. So this is all covered
Yes,
ground.
That's covered ground. So in all of our different conversations, we kind of started talking about our division, but one of the things that has come back, and I'm going to say this to you, and I know you're going to hate this feeling once again, so don't look directly at me. But you have said one line to me, it had to be 6 months or a year ago. And that one line has stuck in my head for so long that I think I've probably thought about it at least once a week, sometimes once a day, where we were describing the state of the world. And we were kind of just having a conversation about that. And you popped off with this line that really shook me because it was, we're living in an era now. Actually, why don't you say the line?
Well, yeah, and it was basically that the cost of luxury has plummeted, but the cost of basic necessities has skyrocketed.
Correct.
And I don't know, to be totally clear, I don't know if I came up with it. I don't remember reading it anywhere, but it came out very easily.
It did.
So either it was a stroke of genius that I can't take any credit for, or I read it somewhere else and forgot that I'd read it. But yeah, I mean, I think it does kind of distill a lot of what we're seeing and feeling, that there is so much. And I was thinking about it on the way over, like, why is that? Is it that all of a sudden luxury is more affordable, or is it that cost of living has gone up so much? Because it's really a statement of the relative value of the two, right?
Sure.
And it's hard because I think luxury is a moving target.
Well, if
Right?
the definition, right? If you would say it, we've talked about this a few times, but I wanted to have this discussion on air because it was like, excuse me, the thought process behind luxury the price of luxury has plummeted. It brings up a thought process in my head where, in today's day and age, if you would go back only a few years ago, having a smartphone would have been a luxurious item.
I remember getting my first iPhone. I happened to work for a man who was an Apple fanboy, but didn't really have a lot of confidence in his ability to work the products.
Yeah.
And so he bought one for himself and bought one for me with the understanding that I would be his tech support.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I was delighted with it. It was, it was a game changer. It was
total game changer, right? And if you take that and you take that mindset of having the vast knowledge of the entire world literally in your pocket, to have Netflix, to be able to stream anything, to go to YouTube, Wikipedia. The freedom that a smartphone gives us in today's day and age is a shocking level of luxury that you could go back to the 90s or even to the early 2000s, right? Where to have that, your fingers dipped into that pie and be able to pull anything up you want at any given time or teach yourself something at any given time is an incredible luxury.
Yeah, there's a line in our house. I mean, we sort of talk about it. You know, if anyone's ever wondering about anything, it's like, oh, well, if only you had the source of all world knowledge in your pocket. Oh, you do. Go ahead, look it up. What are we talking about here?
But if you go into any country today, like even if you think about, and I'm going to use India as an example, because you could be in the most remote part of India in a impoverished area. But people are walking around with cell phones and not flip phones, but walking around with the same phone that I have in my hand. Maybe it's a year or two later or older or whatever, but it has the same capabilities, right? With luxury, you could say to a certain extent that anybody in today's day and age can take a hot shower, and how that is maybe only 50 years old. If you take luxury of heated seats in a car, you know, how many years ago was if you had heated seats in your car, or that was a Mercedes-Benz like option, and then eventually, or GPS or backup cameras, you know,
and how quickly the cycle goes from what is a luxury to what is a necessity, and switches over, which is wild. I mean, I remember the first
flat screen TVs.
Absolutely. I had one of the I got for free a large. Technically, it was a flat screen TV, but it was in that era in between, like, whatever it was, plasma first?
Yeah.
So
90 pounds.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
It was a couple hundred. It was huge. And I could not lift it on my own.
Yeah.
It was so heavy and ungainly.
Yeah.
It was massive.
Yep.
And it sat on the floor because I couldn't find anything that I felt confident would carry its weight. But yeah.
So when we're thinking about that today, in today's day and age, there's an optimistic view of that and there's a pessimistic view of that, right? The optimistic view is how amazing it is that let's say Mercedes-Benz like qualities of GPS, backup camera, things that were only a few years ago are now in the base model Civic, right? And wow, that's incredibly optimistic. But on the other side of that, you could say a McDonald's hamburger is, you know, to feed a family of 4 at McDonald's is going to cost you $50 or more, right? So we have shrunk that little thing due to technology, you know, mostly, I think is a good way to put it. But it is also widened the gap between, if you are in the luxury level, that luxury level goes up to infinity.
Right. Right, in a way that it didn't before.
Exactly right.
That's a really good point. Like if you go to, what's the San Sebastian, I'm sorry, on the California coast.
Yes.
San
Simeon?
San Simeon, there you go. Sorry.
Oh, Hearst Castle.
Hearst Castle,
Hearst
thank
Castle,
you.
yes.
Like, it's it's opulent. It's, you know, brick by brick removed from Spain and recreated in Southern California. But at the same time, there's no AC.
Okay, there we go. You know,
like as much as that's a silly comment, like,
right.
You know, the level that was, I mean, an unspeakable luxury, and in some ways is still unspeakable luxury today. But someone living in a 2-bedroom condo has, in some ways, a much more comfortable life than the people that were living in San Simeon.
We had a conversation, or I had it with someone who was younger than me, and this thought process.
And I am younger than you. I would like that noted on the record.
Noted. Thank you. But the conversation about you are living, everybody, you know, so let's contextualize this. The price of luxury has dropped. The cost of survival is skyrocketed. But if you would ask me today, if I would want to go back in time to Queen Victoria, right? We started watching that on Netflix, right? And they're putting gas in the palace, right? And to lights instead of candles, right? The amount of luxury that a average person has today, far exceeds, even if the Queen of England only, let's say, how far back do we go?
Right.
Does it go to the 1970s?
Well, I mean, I think this really goes back to, I think, one of the first times that you and I hung out.
Yeah.
And you were recounting how you had purchased, I mean, it's a silly story, but you had purchased 2 pairs of shoes on a popular online shoe retailer website.
Right.
I don't know if how brand conscious you have to be on
starts with the Z,
105.9
got
The
it.
Country. The country?
Crazy
country. I'm sorry, the horse.
I know, you're not from this country. It's all right.
I'm not from this crazy.
Perfect.
Yeah, you were recounting how you had purchased 2 pairs of shoes with the idea that you were going to send one of them back, whichever one you didn't like more, and how you you'd had a pretty good year, I think, and you said, you know what? I decided I'm going to keep them both.
Yeah.
And I looked on and realized that I was literally wearing the shoes that I was married in. And just like
I'll never
the
live that
level,
down.
the level of opulence.
I think you said
how
such
dare you?
luxury.
You are living like a Russian czar.
It's true. I mean,
And for the record, I bought a new pair of dress shoes to get married, which had been, I don't know, gosh, like probably 3 years previous.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm still wearing them.
I hadn't been working an office job all those 3 years.
I get it.
But yeah.
But okay, so do you think that is a? Do you think the I don't want to use the word despair. Despair may be too strong of a word. Maybe it is.
I don't know. I think it's appropriate in some ways.
There we go. That the despair of today comes down to let's say comparison, right? Where if you are comparing yourself to people around you, it's easy to get hurt or feel pain or say, why don't I have that? The whole thing of like, if comparison is the thief of joy.
Right.
If you compare yourself, you are
I like to say it as comparison is the thief of joy.
Thank you. That was actually.
Did you think mine was better?
Yours was better.
Oh, well, I just stole some of your joy.
Well
so,
done.
yeah.
Oh, you zing. But if you would compare yourself back only a few years.
Yeah.
You are light speed or light years ahead of where anybody was a few years ago. Where if somebody sits there today and says, "Oh, it's it's a terrible time to be alive," which, I mean, in all honesty, if we listen to the news and take it for its face value, we could talk about young people saying, "I don't have enough money to." Get married. I don't have enough money to have kids. I don't have enough money to do this, that, or the other. And, this is where we're probably going to get into difference of opinion, but there's a certain amount of it where there's a group of people that just pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You don't need to buy a $4 cup of coffee. If you would just save that, you would have it, right?
Right. And I think we've all seen those sort of like, people like doing the math out on those and going, how how many cups of coffee I would have to not drink in order to be able to afford a down payment on a house? It's insane.
It is.
And it's funny. I was talking with our mutual friend Jeff Seek last night about, it feels like there was all of a sudden an explosion in generational complaint, right? Where boomers were talking about millennials and talking about avocado toast and just, you're frittering away your money on nothing.
Right.
I remember when I first moved to the States, I talked to my dad about how difficult it was to get any kind of real estate. And he was saying, well, you know what we did? We built a fixer, or we bought a fixer upper. I had to, and they did. I mean, I think rewired the whole house, put new stairs in the house, like it was a real dilapidated wreck. I said, Dad, and this was 2007 in Santa Barbara. I said, Dad, there's no fixer uppers to be had for
that price.
I think at that point it was like maybe $300,000.
Yes.
And at that point, not only do I not have that type of money,
sure,
but I wouldn't have any money to fix it up.
Correct.
So it really, I think the goalposts have shifted. I think I just saw this morning the person who did the voice actor for Frosty the Snowman in the animated show.
Yes,
had like 2 secret families, Yeah. Whenever he died, it came out that he had like two completely secret families that all found out about each other. And
like Bill Burr and Billy Corgan. Okay, that's
my favorite.
The fact that
glitch in the Matrix.
The glitch in the Matrix. Okay,
but
look that up, by the way, everyone.
It is
Billy
truly
Corgan
the best.
and Bill Burr are half brothers.
And Bill Burr made the amazing point of, and the lazy SOB named us both Bill, so he didn't have to remember. What an asshole! What a beep.
Yep.
Sorry.
We'll edit that.
Yeah,
one.
thank you.
But okay, continue on your story.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, but the point of this guy, Frosty the Snowman, someone was like, yeah, back whenever, one man with a voice acting gig could support 3 families.
That's unbelievable, right? But so now, yes, the support of 3 families, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cost of doing so.
Yep.
Okay, he can support 2 families or 3. But does it come down to, like, if you think about Happy Days, right? There's a great TV show, way back when. You're familiar. Good. I'm bringing you in. How, if you watch that show was basically made as a homage to, quote unquote, the peak living of the United States.
Because it was based in the 50s
Correct.
and filmed in the 70s. Yeah.
Exactly right. But if you watch that show and break it down, they did not have AC. They only had 1 car. Mm-hmm. They rented the space above their garage to a local thug,
to a local ruffian,
who
frankly seemed to have an inappropriate relationship with the mother. But
we don't know. Hey, listen,
it seemed implied.
Implied. There you go. But if you look at all of that, you go, would you want to go back and live in Happy Days?
Right.
I mean, there's a certain nostalgia, I guess, that comes with it.
Right.
But do you think, and I'm asking your opinion now, and by the way, you're listening to Crazy Country 105.9, and this is Keith Saarloos. I'm chopping it up with my good buddy Robbie Boyd discussing
The Horse.
Wait,
hang on. The timing of that one was bad because it makes me feel like I'm the horse.
Crazy Country.
The Horse.
I love it. We're definitely gonna use that. Would you go back into that time period, or are we just now? Are we getting to a point of peak fatigue?
I think that the point you made earlier about comparison is a really good one. I think that I think there's a lazy point about celebrity culture and all that kind of stuff, right? But I genuinely...
I think the show Cribs broke people's brains.
Right. I think seeing, quote unquote, how the other half live,
right?
And you go, oh, well, maybe some of this stuff is attainable. And I think that is a lot of the... both despair and the disparity is, if I'm not going to the Amalfi Coast, if I'm not flying on a private jet, if I'm not, in a car that I can't afford, if I'm not doing all these things, then how could I be happy? Because the influencers that I see online are doing these things, or at least appearing to do these things.
Or someone I know is doing this thing.
Right.
And with Instagram, with social media, with all of those platforms,
the invitation to compare is completely undeniable. There's a piece of writing that is popular in my parents' sort of generation family. It's called Desiderata, which I never frankly know how to pronounce. But it's a long poem, and it's kind of a sort of life advice-y type poem, and it's it's well played out. But yeah, okay. But part of it says, if you compare yourself with others, you will become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater or lesser persons than yourself. And I like that because those are the 2 options. Either you compare yourself and it's like, doing better than that guy.
Right.
Or it's,
I'm not doing as good as that guy.
I'm really not doing as good as those guys. Well,
right.
What's the secret? What are they doing?
So what do you think we are going to be doing? Because right now, excuse me, we are in the... bleeding edge, I think is a weird way to put it, where ChatGPT, there's another aspect of it where now you can get, you could take, you're negotiating a lease for sake of argument, and you just dump your lease into ChatGPT. You have it read it for you. You say, hey, give me some advice on this thing. And you didn't have to go to maybe a lawyer or hire someone to go do this. You're a little bit more self-sufficient. Again, that is bringing the cost of that luxury down. You're also not paying somebody to do that job.
Right.
And I know this is where you and I kind of differ in a certain aspect where I'm not, I would never say I'm not for the common person. I mean, because
you say that all the time.
Oh,
you normally start. You say, "Hey, Robbie, it's Keith calling. I'm not for the common person. Give me a call back." That's my voice. I've got that on voicemail. I'm pretty sure
Please
I can play that.
Play
Yeah.
it. Great. I love it. But in that, when I mean the common thing, what I'm saying is, living out here, farming, things like that. It's like you're pretty much self-sufficient, or you need to be as much as you possibly can,
or at least there's a perception of that. Absolutely,
it is. It's like if I'm going to try to fix this before I have to call somebody,
absolutely,
to fix it. I mean, there's a certain level of like, we are past my manual.
Right.
We got to call someone in, or this is mission critical. We need someone here now to fix this. Right. But
and if I can interject just quickly,
Yep.
there's also a really direct relationship between your labor and the output of your labor.
Exactly.
Which I think
correct.
is one thing that has really changed for a lot of people, is the thing that they do for labor and what they see as the result of that the gap is widening.
See, do you think that has a lot to do with like let's say the office work of life, that where most people, to a certain extent, unless you're a craftsman, unless you're working with your hands, because my son's 17 and we have a lot of conversations about the future and things like that. And if it was 10 years ago, I'd be like, learn to code, learn to, geez, what's the good way to put it? It's like you could get a good job in accounting. You could get a good job doing this. And now if we're fast forward to 2026, which does not seem like a real number that we are about to be in.
I just signed a contract that expires in 2032.
It's
I'm
insane.
Like,
You're
that's
like,
a spaceman number.
It is. It's like, we'll be on the
we'll be on the moon.
The jacket.
Ooh, conspiracy revealed.
There we go. Where's my jetpack?
Yeah.
We'll
Totally.
be flying around in jetpacks by then, which is quite possible. The thought process that comes with that is like, all those people, I'm like, learn to be an electrician, man.
Yeah.
They're like, what? I'm like, geez, learn to be an electrician. Learn to be a plumber. Learn to be
If you could be a tradesperson in an essential category, which plumbing, electrical, HVAC, any of the mechanical
the dirtier
trades,
it is, the better.
Like septic. Oh my goodness.
Gosh.
But I mean, if you could do that and take some business classes,
Sure.
between those two things, you'll be safe.
Like right now, I look at young people, and there's quite a few that are around this valley that I'm really impressed with, because all of a sudden it's like they were a journeyman or they were working for someone else. They were learning a trade somewhere, and then they come back to the valley, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, I'm an electrician. I know my stuff. I'm really proud of it. I'm going to put the same level of artistic detail, which is the other part of it, right?
Yeah.
Where people used to be able to get away with just throwing something up, and now people are like, no, I'm going to put some effort into this thing. And when you see it as even a homeowner, right, and they go, look at this.
And if you have a brain that's like mine, which if I hope you don't, I hope no one does. But if you have a brain like mine and you see an electrician's work where they have done all these wires run, and they're like 50 different home run wires, completely parallel with the same 1/4 inch spacing between the Romex, or you see a manifold system for a hot water hit. Like, come on, this is beautiful.
It redefines art to a certain extent, because now you can write a song on AI. You didn't have to go through that burden of having to learn how to play the guitar. You didn't have to go through the burden of those certain aspects.
That, to me, I think is my biggest fear of AI, is that you're right. I mean, when you said about learn to code, right?
Right.
That you wouldn't do that necessarily anymore, because I think there's a lot of coding that is happening purely through AI.
Sure.
And again, Jeff and I were talking about this last night of, if you know the right way to do it, if you know the fundamentals,
right,
AI can be an incredibly powerful tool to be a force multiplier for your productivity.
That's the term.
But it's also entirely possible that you don't really know what's under the hood. It reminds me of trying to hire, I think my generation, which my generation in the UK,
you're an elder millennial.
Yeah, that might be your generation here.
Yeah.
But the first generation to have a home computer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We had to know how those things worked. We had to know how to install and uninstall programs.
C://
We had to know command prompts. We had to be able to do some basic troubleshooting with all those different things. with very limited internet, 56K dial-up, whatever. But we had to really be mechanics, in the same way that it used to be when you had a car, you knew how to do all the things with a car. You knew how to change the oil, you checked all the levels, But now it's a closed box in the same way that, when you buy like it's not a Bentley, but like that really high-end luxury car where the whole engine compartment
BMW has that.
Completely sealed.
Yes,
you can't get into it.
You can't touch it.
Right? Tesla has the same thing. That's a more of a different thing. But, it's the same thing with computers. If you talk to kids now, they're digital natives. I mean, they understand and they can absolutely fly around any operating system. But I was hiring someone a few years ago as an office helper kind of thing. Great sort of college kid while you're in class. Like, if you can come a couple of afternoons a week, just come to the office and just do some stuff for me. And I was asking them, like, what's your sort of confidence with IT? And to a person, they're like, well, I grew up with computers, so I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. If you came into the office and the screen was black, what do you do? I'd be like, turn it on. I'm like, okay, cool. You press the button to turn it on. Nothing happens. What do you do next?
Call somebody.
Yeah. Every single one of them was like, well, I would call IT. I'm like, right, that's my point. I'm IT.
Yes.
And I don't want you to call me because I'm busy doing something else. That's why I hired you.
Well, it's kind of it's like going back to even that original thought process of like India is a great example of it. They leapfrogged, right? Mm-hmm. There was a leapfrogging, and just like you were just describing that kid who's coming in and knows kind of what to do once the car's running, right? But maybe not how to start the car or fix the car. Right. India started off, with it was rare to see something with somebody with a hard line or a landline in their house. But as soon as cell phone towers came around, bing, bang, boom, we're jumping, right?
Same thing, internet cafes. So I was in India in would have been around 2003, probably like 2003. Mm-hmm. And it was easy to phone home because there were these little yellow kiosks everywhere. Mm-hmm. There were STD, PCO, ISP, and the three different sort of phone carrier systems, that you could do long distance or national or whatever. And I imagine all that's gone now.
Well, now you could FaceTime from anywhere. I mean, it's the difference between having to run a hard line in your house. Right. Like if you had a telephone line and plug it in and anybody called you, you're like, oh no, a phone line, your speakers start going, da, 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 and you're like, oh no, I'm going to get kicked off the internet, right? And then it goes to the next thing where you give a coaxial 5-cat cable and you're plugging it in the back and you're, going at 100 or 1 meg a second. And
1 meg up. Oh my goodness.
We're living in the future.
Yeah.
2, now it's like wireless, right?
Oh, I was on the flight here, and I'll tell you straight up. Yeah. A couple of times the web pages that I was looking at while I was in the sky.
While you were flying through a tube.
Yeah. It took several seconds to load, and you better believe I made my displeasure known.
Dear Delta.
How dare you do me like that?
What, a Spirit?
This is what Keith Saarloos thinks of me. Unbelievable. JetBlue, as it turns out.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Lay down seats. Way to go.
Oh, I would never lay down.
Never lay down.
Oh, how could you lay down?
I don't know.
The person behind you? You have to be a person solely without empathy to recline your seat in. If you are in
okay, now we are at the core.
Class.
By the way, everybody who's listening, you are now in the core of our conversation. The core of our conversation. Please continue.
If you are in the economy class,
sure,
and you put your seat down, you're a bad person.
You are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You also, if you're at a window seat, that's great. I'm a window seat person.
Yes. Are you a shade up or shade down?
I like having the shade up because I'm still fascinated. I still love the magic of flying.
Sure.
I mean, you know how I feel about airports.
Yeah.
I love flying. I love everything about it. Like, it really appeals to my list making tendency, and I go to security, tick, and I find the gate.
How long were you? How many hours early to your flight were you?
Well, as it turns out, I was only 2 hours early. Unfortunately, we got onto the plane. I know. I needed to see a doctor if it was going to last one more hour.
I know.
But I was. We got onto the airplane, went to take off, and then it was as if he slammed on the brake and pulled the handbrake. I've never been in a plane that decelerated so quickly. And basically they said that, one of the engines was throwing a code and wasn't really coming on. So
We're cool. We're going back.
We're just gonna turn around on this one. But fair play to them. They got a new plane, exactly the same type. Everyone had the same seat in like 2 hours, which I thought was
That's amazing.
Pretty fantastic.
That's pretty fantastic.
No, I wasn't particularly happy that I'd gotten up at 3 a.m, but this is life.
So we have about an hour. We have about a couple minutes left.
Okay, sorry.
But
I would like to say that I think.
Please continue.
I would like to drop a bomb. Here's the thing,
good.
and
Let's
I think
go.
this is a big one for AI. And go back to what you're saying about we in the year 2007 or whatever it was when the iPhone came out.
Sure.
We all of a sudden had not just the internet, which we already had, but we had this mobile repository of all world knowledge.
Yes.
And and there's the sort of easy argument about and we used it to make cat videos
memes,
and Icon has cheeseburger, and okay, fine, there's something in that. But I think that what's amazing is with access to all this information and really reliable information, we have really run as hard and fast away as we can, hard and as fast as we could away from the idea of truth. I'll say this, with AI, bringing AI into it, I was talking to some colleagues last week. One of them had, as a joke, and a joke that was received well, had made a video of the other colleague's spouse kissing someone else.
Oh my gosh!
And they knew each other outside of work.
Okay,
it was all
It was
sort of
okay.
it wasn't an
HR
HR.
was
Was not involved.
Got it.
And everyone was laughing. I was horrified. And I watched this video. I'm like, there's nothing in my mind
Yes.
that I'm looking at that I can see that looks counterfeit about this in the slightest. And I mean, what, a year ago we were laughing because AI couldn't figure out how to do fingers.
Right.
This looked. I mean, this was a beautiful moment between these two people that never happened.
Yeah.
And a look of real
digitally,
sincere.
it did.
And that's the thing, a look of real sincere
Right.
love and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. So how soon before our legal system catches up with the fact that we can't trust our eyes anymore? So not only have we devalued truth in terms of, I think it's increasingly hard to know what's actually happening, but it's also now we're seeing things that are not happening.
Well, if we go into that, that's a rabbit hole in and of itself. But,
Absolutely. That's why I brought it up at minute 27.
well done. I expect nothing less from my good friend Robbie Boyd. The one thought process we have with that is, at some point, are we going to break? Right? At some point, are we going to say, well, enough is enough? Right? At some point, and are we reaching it? Right? Are we reaching that? Like maybe for you, it was that video. Yeah. That we each and every one of us is going to say, or to talk about, David Foster Wallace, I think was have you ever, Infinite Jest?
He was the CFO in The Office, a popular NBC sitcom.
No, he wasn't. David Foster Wallace, what are you doing?
There's 3 people that laughed really hard at that.
There's true.
The character's name was David Wallace.
That's right. The beauty or the thing that he said that really chilled me to the bone a long time ago is the fact that we are very social creatures. We are very involved in community. We are very involved in seeing our local, or if we go back far enough, right? And using you as an example, being from Britain, the pride and the passion that comes from your hometown football club, right? Where this team is a representation of everything that we are, and we go and support them as a community. And when we're all wearing the same color and we're all going there to cheer, we're cheering for our town, we're cheering for them to win, but if they win, we all win, right? And his very prophetic viewpoint was, it is getting, and he said it way in front of like even the iPhone coming out, which is, as we are progressing, the downfall of humanity is possibly going to be the fact that it is becoming more and more pleasurable to be in isolation, where now we can DoorDash food directly to our home and have non-contactless or contactless delivery. Holdover from COVID, of course, but everybody got real used to it. Or not having to go to Blockbuster to go see a movie. or to go rent a movie, not even having to go to a movie theater anymore to watch something.
It's Ready Player One. It's sitting in your haptic enabled chair with, the needles in your arm to supply the drip of nutrition that you need, and
The Matrix.
and waste ports to take away whatever comes out, and you can just live very happily in this dream world.
Blissfully.
Yeah.
And we have gotten to the point, and we've had this conversation, but we'll kind of finish it with this, is I truly believe that the most detrimental, and we didn't even get into COVID, which you and I have a huge conversation about, and that could be a whole other time. But the thing that I think about, like with COVID and everything that happened, and news coming out now, but people are dying, right? COVID vaccines, and then now we have the 5 years later conversations about all of that stuff. I'm putting that off, all of that off to the side,
Sure,
because you had a front row seat to that that I did not.
Well, and you and I had just very different, but also very emotionally charged experiences that were equally true.
Equally true, correct. But the fact that we got to a point when they said socially distance.
Yeah.
And socially distance, to me, I just even to this day, even saying it out loud, I go, we really got fed a bad cheeseburger on this one.
Right.
Because
it should be physical distance.
It should have been physically distanced.
Right.
And now when we look at our world today, and we have conversations of, when you say, when people say, I don't have that friend anymore because of politics or COVID or whatever the thing that divided them, right? And I can't even call them anymore, or they're not dead to you, but
they may as well be.
Yes, the community of you and that person fractured, and it's never going to be repaired.
Yeah.
It's totaled.
And I think the ways that we connect, I think technology has been awesome. Like I can live 3,000 miles from you, and we can talk
every day.
I can send you an obnoxious number of Instagram reels.
Yes, very much so.
We can text back and forth.
Which you do.
And it's great. And that technology has enabled community between us in a way that never would have been possible 30, 40 years ago.
Correct.
And yet it also means that it's so much easier to quit. It's
so
much easier to go, I'm done here. Because I don't see you.
I won't respond.
I don't see you at the marketplace.
Correct.
I don't see you at the church. I don't see you at the town hall. I don't see you at the factory. Right? We're physically not in the same space. And I think that that is a real difficulty. I mean, that's us, living separately. But I think there are lots of people living in the same community who have distanced themselves from friends, family, whoever, because it's so easy to do it. And it's just, this just isn't worth the effort.
But that's okay. I'm glad you said that, and I think we'll wrap it up on this one. But the thought process to me has become technology is a tool, and everything that we have come to understand and use of being able, like DoorDash contactless, Netflix instead of going to the movies or whatever. Those are great high levels of comfort and satisfaction, and
it's fast food.
It is fast food.
It is salt, fat, acid, heat. It's all of the things that set your brain on fire.
Exactly.
And I mean, how many mobile phone game producers hire psychologists? All of them.
All.
Because
how do we keep them on?
Because the goal isn't to build a game. The goal is to build an addiction that feeds the ad revenue that makes the money.
Perfect. The thought process I have had is, and most of this has come from our conversations, is that as a tool, we can either use it for good or we can use it for evil. We can either use it to help ourselves and move forward and learn and have use the Library of Alexandria that we do have in our pocket for positive, or we can use it to self-isolate, separate, divide, and say, I heard this or I read this, so now I believe this, and my opinion is now more important than our relationship.
Yeah.
And I think for you and I would always say that our relationship or our friendship is always worth more than our opinion.
And we've had some difficult conversations of like, hey, this is a tough one and I'm having a hard time with it, but I don't want to lose our friendship over this and I want this to continue. You say we can use it for good or evil. I think there's one other option.
Let's hear it.
And we talked a few years ago about this, about Hanlon's razor, right? Which is never ascribe to malice what could be explained by incompetence.
Yes.
Because I was having a very difficult work situation and I had this revelation. Oh, wait a second. These people don't hate me. They're just really bad at their jobs, and I'm not doing great at mine. But they're really like it's not a concerted effort to someone's out to get me. It's just that people aren't very good at doing things, and it's just coming up badly for me. And I think that's the other option. Yes, we could use it for good. Yes, we can use it for evil. But I think we can also do this thing, which is probably most common right now, which is this. I don't want to say incompetent, but it's an unthinking acceptance of, oh, is it there on the table? Then I want it. Yeah. Yep. Can I use Chat GPT for it? Great. I'm going to use it.
Sure.
Can I do it unthinkingly? Then I will. And not thinking about the impact that it has on community, right? When you rent from, it's a tiny example, but when you rent from Netflix, instead of going to the theater and, do your small independent local theater, right? That's the thing that hurts your community because you're affecting employment. You're affecting, okay, did you see the people that work there? Are there teenagers working behind the concession stand?
That's it.
Are they, are you seeing neighbors? Are you meeting someone afterwards and going, oh man, what did you think of that? And then engaging in more community building. I think all those things, if we simply default to whatever is easiest, that's the incompetence, right?
Agreed.
That is and then at that point, we are going to sleepwalk into something that's really unpleasant.
Well, you even brought up we keep saying we're a minute away, but you brought up, I think, a very important point that has come up even more so in the last few years, which is loneliness, right? Where if you're banking digitally, if you're ordering your coffee and then walking in and grabbing it, if you're sitting at home and watching Netflix versus going out to the theater or saying, hey, we're going to go to the movies tonight. We're going to meet here for dinner. Yeah. We're going to go watch the movie. And then we're going to go, have a beer somewhere. And then we're going to talk about the movie. Yeah. Those three things build community with people and friendships and long lasting pieces of life that when you really get to the end of your life, you look back and you say, well, what do I have? What have I done? What have I left? And truthfully, having lost my dad a few years ago, I have realized that it's not about what you make. It's not about what you own. It's not about what car you drive. It's not about anything. The only thing anybody is ever going to remember about you is how you made them feel. If you had a relationship with them, if you helped them out when they were struggling, if you called them when the phone stopped ringing, if you said, oh, Jude, come on over, man. We're doing this. We'd love to have you here. That is the thing that I think we desperately, as not just a small community, but like nationally, if we start caring about our neighbors, if we start rebuilding the bridges that we burned down, if we start saying, my opinion, our friendship is worth more than this opinion, we'll get back on track. So I'm going to let you have the last word on this.
My only thing to say is I would encourage everyone to look up. There's a great Kurt Vonnegut quote where he does just that, where he says, I needed to post a letter. I needed to mail a letter. Sorry, I forgot my translation.
No, that's all right. We understood.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
But we needed to mail a letter.
You send letters via owl in Britain.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
Well,
wait, what do you...
Hogsworts?
What do you do?
We go to a box. Benjamin Franklin actually invented
magic
it.
box. He invented the mail? Wow, that's great. I'm just learning so much today.
This country rules.
It really does.
Yes.
But anyway, aluminium aside.
Yeah.
But yeah, he talks about my wife said that she had stamps in the drawer somewhere if I went and looked for them. But I decided I walked on and, I saw a kid that I knew and I asked the kid how he was doing at school. And we talked about that for a little bit. And then I went into the post office and I saw a couple other people that I knew and I did all this. And I think it's that life happens in the in-between spaces.
Sure.
It's not about, yes, there is meaning in work. There is meaning in, all the parts of life. But I think we can ignore the minor pieces, and I think partly it's the distraction piece, right? The fact that you have an amazing dopamine machine in your pocket, that means that you don't sit in an airport lounge and kind of make trips, strike up a conversation with the guy next to you.
Right. I
think that is further alienating us from ourselves, and that is, there's another 15 episodes in there, but
Well,
I would recommend listen to that quote, because if there's a way to do something that's maybe a little bit more difficult, like go to the Good Seed coffee shop and talk to someone that's sit down and see if someone's interested in having a chat. Go to the post office and talk to the if there's a way to do it that is not so massively inconvenient that's going to make a massive difference in your life, do it. Go to the Ace Hardware store instead of ordering it from Home Depot and getting the next day delivery for $8.
I think that's a great way to pin this, because if everybody now with the holidays coming up, and you decided like, oh, the convenience of sitting behind your computer or sitting on your phone and just saying buy, and having it all show up or even pre-wrapped or whatever, right? There's a difference between happiness and satisfaction. And we have talked about that many times, where happiness is here today. Oh, now I'm happy. You get that dopamine hit, and then that is disposable. Right. Versus the I'm going to make you something. I mean, you just gave me a gift that made me cry. I mean, you hand cut a picture of my dad on a wood cut, put ink on it, put a piece of paper on it, and then just carried it across the country. I mean, that to me is art. That's something I will keep forever. That's not something that I'm ever going to let sit on a hard drive or in a file folder. It's going to go somewhere because there was a human being that made this thing, that put their effort into it, and then said, hey, I did this for you.
Yeah. And I think we're incredibly lucky in this valley and beyond to know that there are hundreds of artisans and small business owners and all the rest. And man, I don't know, maybe I'm different to everybody else. I don't think so, but I would way rather get something small that's meaningful that comes from someone that, made it themselves than something that was made by, someone in terrible conditions 10,000 miles away that has wrecked our planet to get to me and my doorstep.
I couldn't agree more. Robbie, thank you for coming all the way across the country to be on Crazy Country 105.9.
The horse.
Well done. See, we nailed it. So this is Keith Saarloos, and you've been listening to Chopping It Up on Crazy Country. We didn't think it was going to go this long, but every single one of these conversations, when Robbie calls me, I walk into another room because I know it's going to be about an hour of us just chopping it up. So, Robbie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Keith.
Back to your regularly scheduled programming on Crazy Country 105.9.
The horse.
Well done.